Hi. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Dom. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I typically make bookish content, movie content, and anything else in between because I like to do whatever I want on this channel, and tonight's going to be bookish content. In today's video, where I am wearing my pajamas, I am coming at you with the mid-year book freakout tag. This is very popular on BookTube this time of year because it's kind of like a mid-year check-in, see how everyone's doing. There's a bunch of questions to follow, and my camera's battery is like wishy-washy right now, so we're just gonna jump right into it. There's 13 questions. I've also only read like 8-9 books this year, so these were kind of hard to answer because usually I have a lot of options. But without further ado, we're just going to jump right into it. You can find the questions down below in the description box. So question number 1, what is the best book you've read so far this year? I actually just finished that book, and I'm going to go with Orange by Ichigo Takano. This is volume 1 of the completed series. I think the series as a whole has 6 volumes, so they put it into 2 books. This is volume 1 of that. This is about a girl named Naho who meets a new kid named Kakeru, but she gets a letter from her future self that basically tells her to pay attention to him and always make sure he is okay and that he is happy. Basically, in summary, future Naho is telling present day Naho to protect Kakeru. I recently just gave this 4.75 out of 5 stars because this is a very heartwarming story. It does take place in a high school setting. I don't really necessarily reach for those books anymore, but I vastly enjoyed this. I love her friend group. It reminds me of my high school days. Low-key kind of want to go back thanks to this book. And what this book is essentially about, it's about trying to live with as few regrets as possible, because our main character is a people pleaser. Because her future self talks about being a people pleaser, there's a lot of things she missed out on and now regrets. So present day Naho is trying to avoid that. And I think this book just has a good lesson of living in the moment. Even like the small, we all talk about like big things we regret, but sometimes it is the little things. Like, for example, she didn't play a baseball game. Her future self regretted that, so present day Naho went ahead and did it. And it just makes me reminiscent about my high school days and how they're like, I did do things in high school, but this book, you know, makes me think about there were other things I wanted to do, but because I was so shy and so self-conscious, I didn't go ahead and do it. And now at, you know, 24, 25 years old, I wish I had just said fuck it and did it. I do regret not doing the small things I wanted to do. And I think this book tackles it very well. And not only that, but it's just nice to see a bunch of friends supportive of one another. There's not a lot of fighting with her friends, which I love. And I just love Naho's relationship with Kakeru. Question number 2 is the best sequel I've read so far this year, and I've only read 1 sequel, so I'm gonna hold up that obvious answer. Luckily, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. That is Death Note Black Edition Volume 2, story by Sugumi Oba and art by Takashi Obata. Death Note is about a bored high schooler who walks around one day. He finds a notebook on the ground called the Death Note, and he discovers that if you write someone's name in it, they die of a heart attack within 60 seconds. He then takes it upon himself to create this utopia, and he has these grand plans to basically play the game of God. And then because this is the only sequel I read this year, this is by default the best one. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it pushed the story through well, and it made me want to read the next volume, and that's all that matters when it comes to long series like this. Question number 3 is new release you haven't read yet but want to. I actually don't have an answer for this because I don't really keep up with new releases. Number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So right now I have The Dawn of Yang Chen by F.C. Yi, I think. He's the same author who did the Kyoshi novels. They're all in the Avatar: The Last Airbender universe. This novel is about Yang Chen, who's the air nomad avatar before Aang. This is kind of cheating though because this book is coming out in July. But again, I don't really keep up with new releases, so it's this book and I guess the other Korra comic that's coming out. Number 5 is Biggest Disappointment, and I'm gonna go with The End of the Fucking World by Charles Forsman. This is about a boy who's basically a psychopath and he runs away with his girlfriend. I really love the TV show on Netflix. I could not put that shit down. I highly anticipated season 2 and loved that as well. So I was hoping I would love the source material because, you know, they often say the book is better than the movie / TV show. However, the TV show was so much better. I actually gave this book 2.5 out of 5 stars. I thought it lacked a lot of character depth. Our main characters were very one-dimensional, and the show is actually what gave them so much nuance, and I'm actually shocked the show could do what they could do given such a I don't want to say shitty source material, that's a little bit mean, but given such a lack of source material, because there really isn't a lot to take in this book. So the reason it's like the most disappointing and I'm not choosing a book I hated even more was just because I went into this thinking I was going to give it 5 out of 5 stars. And then I ended up giving it only 2.5 out of 5 stars. Number 6 is my biggest surprise, and I'm going to talk about Orange again. When I read the synopsis for Orange or when people were talking about it, I was expecting it just to be like another love story, which aren't really my thing. I'm not like a huge fan of romances. However, then I actually read the synopsis and saw that like they're kind of bringing in some like sci-fi elements to it, and sci-fi isn't as big as I thought it would be after reading the synopsis, but there's a whole chapter talking about like parallel universes, how they're changing the future. And I'm actually shocked by how much I ended up enjoying it. I went into this book thinking, okay, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars at most. But again, I ended up giving it 4.75 out of 5 stars. Like there are certain times where I couldn't stop smiling. It actually did make me cry 3 or 4 times. I counted. I put them in my crying log. And by cry, I don't mean like tear it up a bit. Like there was one chapter where I had tears like literally streaming down my face. And it was when they found out the truth about something. This book just made me feel a wide range of emotions I wasn't expecting to feel. I wasn't expecting to be happy and sad and angry and annoyed all in one book, sometimes all in one chapter. Number 7 is favorite new author, a favorite new to you, and I am simply, despite loving Orange as much as I do, I'm actually going to go with the team. I'm actually going to go with the Death Note team. Only because Orange, as much as I like this series, if I never read anything by her ever again, I'm not really going to complain about it. But I actually do want to look into their other series. I know they have Platinum End, which I heard is pretty good, and I want to look into that. Number 8 is your newest fictional crush, and I'm going to go with Matsuda from Death Note because this guy is dumb as rocks. He's pretty fucking dense. He makes so many dumb decisions, and at one point he literally put the team, and himself especially, in jeopardy. But yet he's just so sweet. He has such great intentions. He's just so nice and he's cute. Like I can't help but kind of crush over him. Number 9 is my newest favorite character, and I'm gonna go with Kakeru from Orange. He is a very sweet boy, and I noticed throughout the story he's not really, it's kind of weird. He's afraid to open up to his friends, but once he does, he's not really afraid to show his emotions. He is a guy that will cry. And I appreciate that in stories, because I notice with a lot of stories, people don't like it when their male characters finally break down. But I love to see it. I love a guy who's at one with his emotions. And it's why I've cried so many times in Orange, because he's not the only guy who will start crying. The female character's crying, okay, whatever. But for some reason, like, when they found out the truth of what happened to Kakeru, when they showed Hajita crying first, and I was done. And then Suwa started crying, and then I was done. And then later, Kakeru opened up to his friends, and I was done. And there's just, like, I was in tears over this boy. And I also just really like how he notices the small things in his friends. Like, for example, he notices that Naho always walks like a step behind people for some reason. And she never even thought about doing that until he pointed it out. And he doesn't use these things to like make fun of his friends. It's just like a character trait he happens to point out, and that most of the time he really does like. He looks out for everyone, even when his girlfriend in the beginning would like pick on Naho and her other friends. He's still, like, despite being her boyfriend, like, he's still stuck up for his friends. And we love to see it. I also find him to be kind of a tragic character, and that for some reason, like, if you've been on this channel for a while, you might notice I always cling to those tragic characters. And I don't know why. Number 10 is a book that made you cry. And again, gonna hold up Orange. And I've already talked about how much it's made me cry because of all the guys crying. It's just a very emotional, impactful story, which something I haven't talked about. I do think it's because it talks about topics such as depression and mental health, and I actually really appreciate the way the author is handling it. I'm really glad that Kakeru's friends are staying by his side and not pushing him aside and laughing at him. Like, it was Suwa who got Kakeru to cry, and that whole chapter was a thing, and I was just in tears. Chapter 3 had me in tears when they actually found out what happened, but it was... You guys, I'm still like in tears about it. Number 11 is a book that made you happy. I'm gonna kind of by default go with Orange again. None of these books made me particularly happy. I liked a lot of the stuff I read so far, but like they're all like kind of deep shit, you know? But this book definitely had a few chapters that were really cute and put a smile to my face. Some of these panels make me literally laugh out loud. Like a lot of their side comments are hilarious. Number 12 is the most beautiful book you bought this year. I actually have not bought a lot of books this year, and I'm very proud of myself. I did buy some manga though. One of them is Demon Slayer. I've talked about on this channel how much I do love that anime, so I do want to start reading the manga. I bought the first 2 volumes. I've seen all the covers for all 23 volumes, but the cover of volume 1 is my absolute favorite. There's just, I don't know what it is about this art style that I love so much. And the last question, number 13, is what books do you still need to read by the end of the year? And I have a lot. First of all, I'm just going to hold up volume 1, but I still have the last 3 volumes of Death Note to go through, or last 6 depending, because it is the black editions. There's 2 volumes per edition. Then I have to read Orange the Complete Collection Volume 2. I also want to start reading the Mortal Instruments series for the shits and giggles. Okay, so I have to use my phone for the rest of this video, hence the quality change. But where was I? Because I still got a lot more to talk about. Something else I want to read are the Tokyo Ghoul light novels. I think I'm going to start reading these once I finish the anime, just to immerse myself in like a better world, because I have thoughts on the anime, and I'm holding up this novel specifically only because the other ones are in the shelf and this was out. And again, I want to start the Demon Slayer manga. I also want to start reading my Avatar comics. I still have a lot of them. I need to like reread some first and then get started on these. And then I also want to read the Kyoshi novels, because the Yang Chen one's coming out. Those are somewhere on my shelves. And I also want to start reading the Spy Family manga. And then other than that, that is it for this video. Nice and short, probably one of the shortest videos I've made in a while. Let me know your thoughts down below on any of these books, and if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, comment, subscribe, y'all know the drill. Without further ado, I'm gonna peace out, and I'll see you guys later. Ciao a tutti.